co-founders of Dipper.
Dipper is a technology platform that guides professionals of color to a better workplace, one review at a time.
Dipper is your safe space. It is the time for you to share your voice with a community that you are a part of. Visit us and join today at ourdipper.com.
Hi, Jacinta.
Hi, Meta. Hi, LinkedIn community.
Hi, LinkedIn community. It feels so good. We took some time off, right? What, like 2 weeks?
Why not? Yep.
And here we are, back again. But you know what? It feels good to see you right now. I am so excited for this conversation.
Me too. It's so good to see you. And I mean, we talk even if we're not on LinkedIn Live, but just even having this like public conversation is just, it's almost like refreshing, it's like therapeutic a little bit, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, today our topic is called State of the Union, DEI edition. Now I see, hi, LinkedIn user. I don't see the name popping up, but I just need to say hi. Before we get started, head to ourdipper.com right now. Rate and review your workplace. Are you having an amazing time? How is that experience? What's making that experience? Are you having a terrible time? Why? Right? We want to understand. Oh, I see all the good mornings. I love it. Hi, Janice. Hi, Kirk. Hi, Monique. Hi, Patrice. Hi, Angela. It feels so good to see folks coming in, right? And say, hi.
These are our people.
This is great. Like, these are our people, right? These
100%.
So,
yeah.
State of the Union, Jacinta, DEI edition. What is going on? Like, what are you seeing?
Well, I mean, the topic was inspired by, I'm sure a few of us watched the State of the Union that we had for our country. Curious, I wanted to know, did more people watch the State of the Union or the Grammys? Anyway.
It seems like people were watching the Grammys, okay?
I wonder which had more viewership. I'm going to go with the Grammys, but I think it's like, it's definitely at top of mind, like for folks to sit back and think about like, what's the state of where we're at? Like, where are we? What's the pulse of the people? Now in this conversation, I hope no one calls either one of us out of our name or shouts at us. That did happen in the United States State of the Union address, which, I mean, people are just showing their tail, but so please don't call us. Don't yell liar to us. Don't yell moron to us. These are our opinions and perspectives, but we would also love to hear yours. But yeah, I think one thing that's been top of mind for me is with a lot of the transitions happening at companies and layoffs or downsizing, I'm a bit disappointed by how this has impacted the DEI community, and DEI executives. I feel like they've been hit pretty hard. And I wonder, what will that mean for organizations 6 months from now, a year from now? What does all that mean? And so that's something that I've been thinking about when I think about the state of DEI. Like, how is DEI going to be embedded in the systems and ideology of organizations when at times it may not have a designated leader anymore?
Yeah. My thing is when, right? We have been on, our society, we've been focused on this topic for so long. And it's just like, okay, when are these things going to be implemented? The other thing, there are so many layoffs that are happening. And the way that I see layoffs, especially within organizations, it's contagious. Some organizations actually don't have to lay off people, but because they see this trend taking place, they're like, well, actually, it's a good time to lay off these people.
Yeah.
The impact, I was just reading an article, I didn't finish it, but it had talked about the impact of layoffs and it hurting an organization significantly. And that's no surprise, right? Having to then reboost morale. And when I think about layoffs as well, I think about individuals that are laid off that just joined the organization. Like, why is that happening? Like, like say it's an organization that knows financially things aren't going well.
Yeah.
But you are still hiring folks. And then you lay that person off right when they land their job. We know the disparities that exist as well for many marginalized folks. And we know the wealth gap very well. So now you take an individual that no longer has a job, maybe just purchased a home because that job that they were in before was fully remote, and now they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It leaves people in a very, very bad state. And it's really unfortunate to see that becoming kind of the state of DEI. And like you said, it then dramatically impacting the DEI department. And it's like, wait, hold on. Remember the murder of Mr. George Floyd, the actionable steps that you took and all of those things that were stated on social media that you posted. And now it's the very same department you no longer need.
Yeah. Yeah. And someone asked what is DEI again? This is diversity, equity, and inclusion. There are a lot of organizations that have designated leaders like Netta Jenkins in their orgs that are responsible for initiatives that create an environment where folks feel they are heard, they belong, not just addressing like issues of equity, but also taking proactive measures. One thing I'm noticing too about the state of diversity and equity and belonging, and also how the like BIPOC community, it's like that. The great philosopher Bone Crusher once said, "We ain't never scared," and I'm noticing that.
Hold on, Jacinta. You are amazing for that. You always know how to take a nice song and implement it.
These are the philosers of our day. These are like, they're dropping knowledge, but I think we need to give them their flowers,
We sure do.
But he once said, like, we ain't never scared. And what I am noticing is that there has become, like, we're seeing it on Dipper, right?
Yeah.
There has become this movement of outcry where we are unafraid to speak our truth and to bring light to our voice and our perspectives. And now there's so many ways to do that. Like, it could be a LinkedIn Live. It could be a TikTok video. It could be like a rating, a review on Dipper. There's so many outlets. And I think we're noticing that I'm seeing that people are feeling more unafraid to speak their truth. Now, can you say your truth and no harm come to you? Not always, but I think what we're noticing is there is power in community. There is power in like your village, your nation, your tribe, and all of that coming together to kind of have your back. And inform like what's your next move. And so
no, definitely. I think about us, Jacinta. Some of those that are tuning in right now, you may know how Jacinta and I met. Some you may not, but Jacinta and I met. We were both, leaders and senior leaders within an organization. And let me tell you, when we saw each other as being the few, right, Black women, we ran to each other like it was the color purple. And going back to what Jacinta was saying, we really created a village because it wasn't just only us. We started to identify, okay, who else is within this organization that not only wants to see change, transformational change, but also just needs other people that they can lean on and ideate with, right? On like what your next steps could be. Right? Is that equity package plan that you have good? promotions are coming up, how are you actually going to be advocating for yourself, or can someone else advocate for you, right? That is maybe practicing allyship. So I think what was beautiful about that time was we had a chance to really lean on each other, challenge each other, and get to the next level. And here we are with our own company together. So I think you're right about the power in a village and
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, no, and it's so good that every day we're kind of watering and nurturing that
Yeah.
as well. And I think one thing I'm noticing in the DEI community too is like people recognizing that this is a game of chess and we must be strategic out here in these streets.
You
Like
have to be strategic.
you cannot, it is okay to be thinking about like the right now and
Mhm.
like what we're, in today, but you also should, there's this effort to also think about, okay, well, what's like the plan going forward?
Yeah.
What is this? How is this serving me? How is it not serving me? And
Mhm.
how are we navigating with intention? I'm seeing so much more of that within DEI is that
Yeah. That's
um,
definitely seeing that too.
folks are realizing like, I'm not just going to be out here. Like, I'm going to be very intentional about
Mhm.
the moves that I make and the moves I don't make, like saying no and recognizing that it's okay and valuing rest and like mental health more.
Yeah.
Um, I think have also been things that I'm noticing in the current state of that we're all in. So
Yeah. No, and I think even within the current state, so it's Black History Month. Like,
mhm.
that's a Black History Month, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
And the current state of that has been very interesting, and even companies identifying speakers, right?
Mhm.
But not having the budget. And I'm like, are we still at that state where,
Mhm.
you know, organizations are not willing to pay what they're looking for, and it's really
Yeah.
unfortunate to see. The other thing that I'm seeing happening within the DEI space is DEI leaders are going back to what you were saying, Jacinta, about strategy, are now identifying, okay, what are some other industries and departments and functions within the organization that I can align DEI to also tie that experience under my belt. That has been really interesting because a lot of DEI leaders are seeing, okay, these organizations are saying that they value DEI, but the funding is not there. During layoffs, the entire DEI team is gone.
Yeah.
So they're also having to identify other things that they can do as well
Yeah.
to sustain, right?
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into another thing I'm noticing in the current state and something I feel like you are a master, like you're just an expert at is DEI leaders are no longer taking DEI to just operate in a silo,
Hmm.
but embedding it into what a company does, right? So
Right.
like if your company offers a product or service, you're thinking about DEI from every lens of what the organization builds to like what they engineer to the vendors that they bring on board to the people they hire. And I think that's been really interesting for me to see because I do think for a long time DEI kind of operated in HR by itself and it was kind of
Yeah.
like it's doing its thing and it's really just planning like the Black History Month events and making sure we have an equitable hiring process, right? But what if the product that you're putting out to the public itself is not equitable? Or like
Right.
what if how you identify vendors is not equitable?
Or
And
the
so
code. The
yeah,
code is not equitable, right? A lot of
it's
engineers
like,
are like, but I'm doing my thing, and no, it's not an
yeah,
equitable. I can't mess up the code, but I'm like, no, you're adding your own perspective to it.
yeah,
No, you're spot on with that. Even within the organization that I work for,
mhm,
DEI is its own separate department, so
yeah,
it's not under or housed under the people team because within organizations, people see and there could be great people leading HR, right? And
Mhm.
people team, but they see it more as, hey, they're here to protect the organization. And then people see DEI as, okay, well, here's this advocacy department. Oftentimes, when I talk about DEI with clients, I say, well, you have to see this as a framework or a lens that is applied to every aspect. So, DEI has to be embedded in the onboarding stages of an
Yeah.
organization. The entire employee life cycle has to be indentated with DEI practices and principles, and it has to be measured, right? Because I think that's a term that is always thrown around
Mhm.
is accountability. And so
Yeah.
I go back to organizations and I say, okay, well, what does that even mean? Do you have a measuring tool that
Yeah.
tracks the impact of every employee's DEI efforts? And oftentimes they're like, no, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
it's
I
great.
think that makes a ton of sense. And it's not, I do believe I see Keith, I see your comments. Like the system is definitely broken. And I see a lot of folks in our network doing a couple things. One is building outside of that system. So
Right.
like we built a product, a platform, a community outside of the system to help empower, us. So I think it's like very for us, by us. And this could definitely be a path. I'm seeing a tremendous amount of like entrepreneur, like in the midst of chaos and conflict, I do feel like so many ideas are birthed, right? And so we're seeing so many entrepreneurs come to light. We're thinking differently about how we seek funding and how we build our ideas out and up. The reality is also that so many of us are going to have to work for someone else. And so I do think we have a responsibility to not only build outside of the system, but to figure out how can more of us be safe within the system that they are currently a part of, because they need to feed their families,
Right.
because they need to keep lights on. Like, how do we keep us safe within navigating in that? And so hopefully like a lot of us can wear that, like operate within that duality of responsibility, and that we're going to build outside of the system and like dismantle it, but we're also going to make sure those within it are safe, heard, seen, protected to the best of our abilities. I
I
just
love
want
the
to,
way love
yeah,
the way you put that, because we have to make sure that our people are protected as well. And
by
you're
any
right.
means
The
necessary.
reality is not everyone will be able to have their own business. It's just
Mhm.
that is just the reality. But
Mhm.
does that mean then we turn our backs on those people that are within organizations simply trying to feed their families? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, this has been great and it has been quick.
So good. So good. I love it. I love
I
it.
love it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you all for engaging with us. Curtis, Kayla, Keith, Javid, Brittany. Javid, we see the flowers and the thumbs up. Thank you. Janice, Brittany, Nicole, Monique. Oh my gosh,
So
everyone,
much.
right?
I love it.
We shout you out. We love you all, and we want for you to continue engaging with us every Tuesday. Right now, head to ourdipper.com. Please head to ourdipper.com. Share your workplace experience with us. Is it good? Is it bad? Are you indifferent? What is it?
Yeah. And also share things you think you need. We have a feed on Our Dipper where if there are certain resources you think you need within the community or things you need help with, like give us a shout, and we hope to like connect you to that too. So thank you so much, Netta. Thanks everyone.
Bye.